picking Gala today. They've turned out real nice this year, partly because we haven't had any rain for a while. They tend to crack on the stem end. That hasn't happened. So, especially here in the end where they get full light, the color's great. No stem cracks. And we wanted to talk about how we pick apples. First of all, we use a bag that's got a bag that you can get your hands down in, because you pick them like eggs. You need to be able to get your hands down in so you don't bruise them. And you see it's got this flap on, so when you fill it up, you can dump it into the bin very gently. And it's all padded so that it won't bruise fruit. It's got padding inside as well. And the easiest technique for picking, so especially to keep the stem on, is to take the apple and rotate it up. And if it's ready to pick, you'll see that it'll come off with that abscission layer right there. And if you do it right, it takes a little more work than just yanking, but they will come right off. Just rotate it up. If you just pull on it, the stem will pull out. That's not death to the apple, but it does actually make a little wound down in there. So this and Gala have a stem that they generally don't puncture each other. So you want the stem on them. We have apples like Fuji, we actually cut that stem off because it gets very hard and woody, and one apple sitting in a bin will puncture the other one and ruin it. So you can kind of put your fingers in there and just rotate that thing up and pick, and it doesn't always work. And there's an example, it doesn't work. That's discouraged because this right here is next year's apple spur, and that'll have 5 or 6 blooms right here. So try not to do that. Apple trees usually make many more flowers than you need anyway, but in the event it's one of those years you need them all, you want to leave that on the tree. So that does still happen occasionally, but if you do it right, it comes off clean. And that's interesting to me.
It's a really long stem.
Yes. Just like people, they're not all the same. And that's a good thing. Get a picture in the bag.
Yeah.
And you want to place them in there like eggs, because if you drop them, they bruise. So it's just common sense. We do all of our work by the hour, so the guys take their time to pick right. If you do by the piecework, they want to shove them in there as fast as they can, and you risk the bruise factor. So we're taking, usually spot picking like this, we take the first picking maybe 25%. Actually, you can look at the color here. Some places we're taking 75%. Mm-hmm. We've had these cool nights this August, which is unusual. This is great color for this kind of red delicious.
It's not red delicious.
I mean, of Gala. Gala. Thank you. At this time of year. Usually there'll be a lot more. See if I can get one. It's hard. You'll have a lot more like this. One side's pale. And we're not looking at the red color when we choose these. We're looking at this to turn white or yellow. When this is still greenish, it's too early to pick it. So you're actually taking the apple and looking on the back side. If it's all red, that's pretty obvious. You can also look down here, and that should start turning a little yellow too. Mm-hmm. And they'll get, this one's actually almost waxy when they get really ripe, ready to pick. They have their own wax on the apple. In a commercial packing house, they scrub that with a detergent to take that off and then put a paraffin-based wax on it. We put these through the brushes, but it doesn't scrub off what's on there. All it does is shine up the wax that it has, so it's not conformed. It's natural. So I think that's about all I can tell you about picking apples, except I hope we get them all off today.
All right, before it rains and they crack.
Yes, that's why we're at it today. I think we're supposed to get rain Sunday into Monday, and when that happens, they can stem crack. terrible. Right up here at the top, they'll have a little crack, and it doesn't bother it so much right away, but if you hold them very long, it starts to decay around the crack and ruins the apple. That's today's story.
Can we show them how you empty the picking bag into the bin?
Sure, let's go. These are commonly called tubs because of the way they look. And these hooks here, you just pull the strings out, and you can very gently lay that skirt down and pull the bag out so the apples just kind of roll right on the top.
Very little bruising this way if you do it right.
That's right, and if there's any bruising, you're the one that's going to see it at market.
So we take our time.
Take our time, that's right. We're spot picking here. This particular orchard, we've got L-Star, and I picked some of them, spot pick, Gala, Liberty, and Gold Rush. And you all seen Gold Rush in the fall and the spring. They aren't ready till they turn yellow, and as you can see, they're still very green. We got about 6 weeks or something before we pick them.
And their size isn't there yet.
Their size isn't there. Well, some of them are pretty good size, but yeah, they've got some growing and maturing to do. They'll be the very last things, about the last things we pick.
Excellent. Thanks.
Sure.